Hello again, welcome back to European Autocraft Studios 944 Turbo Project video stuff. Anyways, last week I told you that we may have some good news next week. I didn't really elaborate on it much, not on it today either because it wasn't good news. So we're just going to continue on what we're doing the way we're doing it until good news comes. And one day I'll explain all that, but don't worry about it for now. What we're going to do today is put the pinion shaft back together. It's unfortunate I don't have new parts to put in, but at least we get to see what's going on. I'm going to show you some measuring stuff that we're going to do here, how we're going to measure the snap rings and the gaps and things like that, and put it back together the way it is. There'll be a time when this will all come apart again. We probably won't bore you with that video, but we'll show you some stuff when we get the new parts, what we're doing, if that ever happens. I just heard from the owner again, asking him when can we, get some money together for this, and it doesn't look promising. He's going through a rough time right now, so we're going to do what we can just to keep the series going, show you all this stuff. Hopefully we'll get another car in here. Plus, during the week, we're going to start doing some video on some other things. We have we're interested in Ferraris. We got a Ferrari 308 coming in for some major work. We do a lot of Ferrari work. You don't get to see it, but we're going to be doing a pretty good engine out job on a 308 and do some cleaning and check the clutch, things like that. Easy stuff, but it's a lot of bulk work. So right now, back to what we're doing here today. We have our hot plate, and I know it's a hot plate because if you look over here, it actually says caution hot surface. All right, so I'm going to be very careful because that is a hot surface, and I know that because there's a sticker on it. That's very important. We have our pinion shaft in the freezer, so it gets as small as it can get, and these are going to be heated to drop on. They say we should still use a press. I'm willing to bet we're not going to need it. I think that these are going to drop right on. If they don't, I have some tools here that I can persuade them gently to go back on, and if they still don't go back on, we'll go to our little press. A little baby press should be enough to put this together if we need it. I don't think we're going to need it, but we'll see. I've never been wrong before, ever. Yeah. So let's start with the Synchronizer rings. These, this is first and second gear. They have a different specification than 3 and 4, but we're not doing the 3 and 4 on the pinion shaft. That'll be on the input shaft. So let's just take a quick look at this. For the first and second gears, they want a 1 millimeter to 1.7 millimeter gap, and that gap is right here between the surface of the dog teeth, they call them, and the gear itself. Now it looks good to me. I think that's a good gap, but we're going to measure it. I took the liberty of making I put a few together so I can get the. I don't have a 1 millimeter one, so I stuck these in there to see where I was going to be at a good point. This is just a little bit snug. I've tried different ones, and this is really gets within maybe a tenth of a millimeter. And the same with this one. They have a good feel to them. They're tight at this spec. So let's see what that spec is. We have to mush them all together. This dial this micrometer takes a little more force to get to 0, so I just give it a little extra push. But we're at 1.37, and that's well within spec. Now, would I use this synchro because it's in spec, or is there more inspection we need to do? So, looking at this, I see a lot of shiny spots here. Those would be high spots in the synchronizer ring itself. They look good, but I just can't help but think that they're only making contact on these areas. So I don't know. This one is even more so. So I feel that some of the contact surface that actually grips the gear to slow it down is no longer there, and that tells me that over time, they may start to give us a problem. We'd want to, when we rebuild the transmission, we want to make sure it's going to go another 100,000 miles. I don't believe that these would go another 100,000 miles. I think with some aggressive driving, this surface would be worn off faster because we're already there some of the way. So our gap is good. It would probably work for a long time, but I just think we should change them. So I'm going to put those on my parts list that we want to change those. We'll probably end up replacing all of them, but we'll take a look. I know fourth and fifth don't take a lot of abuse, but we're going to freshen this up one day. The mating surfaces are good. Dog teeth on this gear look good. I don't think it's worth replacing the gear. If you look at the cost of some of the stuff, you have to outweigh, you know, what kind of longevity am I going to get with what I have for the amount of money I'm going to put into it. If we wanted to replace everything that even looked slightly worn, we could probably buy a new transmission. So we have to sort of outweigh what's going to last. What will make it to 100,000 miles. And I do believe that these will. I think with a good synchro ring, we'll be in good shape with these parts. We'll look a little closer at second and third. Third seems to be the most aggressive. Gets beat up quite a bit. But, all right, so that's that. That's what I wanted to show you on the measurements. So I'm going to get the pinion shaft, and I'll be right back. It's getting pretty frosty in there, so we'll see how it looks like. So we'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and there's a frosty pinion shaft. It looks cold enough. What that does, it just makes it smaller, and we're heating the gear that makes it a little bigger, so the interference fit gets a little bit looser. So they want right here, they want the bearing heated to 120 Celsius or 248 Fahrenheit. We're probably just over that, 270. Doesn't seem to be consistent, but it's hot, and I'm thinking it should drop right on. So this is the, let's see, the bearing, the bearing is already on, 248 they want for this one, so we'll drop that off, and they want the collar facing third gear. So this is fourth gear, there's the collar. As you can see, it's flat on the bottom. Everything is completely cleaned and dry. And let's see if we can get that in position. Yes. I'm just going to give it a gentle tap. Make sure it's all the way at the bottom. It's actually not. It's not all the way down. I don't know if that's going to fit. No. Crap. All right, well. So we're going to need the press. Like I didn't expect. Did not expect that. But okay. See, we got a little bit of a gap. We're just going to go push it down on the press while everything is still cold and warm. So let's get the press set up and we'll be over there. Okay, here we are at a little toy press. It does a great job though. The thing's been welded together so it's nice and rigid. It only takes so much pressure. So we're just going to push it the rest of the way on. I really thought it was going to go on there, as you can tell, but that's okay. We have the tools. We're going to give it a little extra, make sure that it's in all the way. And that's it. All right. So now we have to measure the, put the snap ring in and measure the gap here. So we're going to go back over the bench and do that. Okay, we're back at the bench. We're going to get the snap ring in. I can't believe that it wouldn't go on. Anyways, I could have heated it more, make it bigger. I'm trying to stay within what the guidelines are here. A little bit hotter is okay. It's not going to hurt anything. But in any event, we have the press. We can make it work. It does say to press it on, so we're following the directions perfectly clear. So let's measure, mostly clear. Let's measure the snap rings here because we're looking for, what are we looking for? The end plane must not exceed a maximum of 0.03 millimeters. Well, I think we can achieve that, but we're going to have to measure it and see what we've got here. So let's see what snap rings we have. This one is 2.4, 2.39. So that's 2.4. That's probably the 2.4. That's a 363 AJ. This one is, well, this is 2.4 almost exactly. So we have two the same size. One snap ring is to lock the gear in place. The other one is for the third gear to sit on. If we do have a gap here, we don't have a larger snap ring that we can use. So I don't believe we have a problem, but let's hope we don't, because we can't go any bigger. So let's start with this one. We're just going to give this a little gentle tap. And well, it looks pretty snug. It's not in all the way yet. So we're just going to go around and tap the snap ring in. And it's tight, so that's good. That's a good fit. It's not too tight. I'm not forcing it in. I'm just helping it a little bit. Just helping it go where it needs to go. So I know I'm not going to get a feeler gauge in there, so I'm pretty happy with that. I would say we have a zero gap there. Zero gap, and maybe even a little bit more pressure pushing on the gear that's seated. Very nice. Okay, what's next? So the next thing, we'll have to put the next snap ring on. This is going to be the rest spot for our third gear, which should be going on here. It's warming up nicely. Now, if this was the final assembly of this transmission, I would have everything coated in just a light penetrating oil, and everything would be a lot cleaner. Even though everything is clean, we would be cleaning everything with some probably brake clean, blow it all dry, and constantly as we build this. We'll be doing that when we build it. Right now, I want to put it back together and show you how it all works. So, okay, there's our fourth gear snap ring. We measured the rest spot for the third gear. They want that heated to 248 degrees. I think we're probably close to that by now. Yeah. 260, 270. I think we're close. So remember, this is hot. Be very careful. And they want, let's see. So that's hot. Look at that. That's what I like to see. I'm going to just give it a gentle nudge to make sure it's down. I think we're sitting right on the snap ring. Actually, we're not. It's not sitting on the snap ring. So let's go to the press and just press that down the rest of the way. I do believe now. I could tap it, but I don't want to do that. Let's just put it in the press and finish it off. I'll see you over there. Okay, we're back at the press. And we're just going to gently nudge this down until it contacts that snap ring. There it is. Okay. I could have whacked it with a hammer, but let's not do that. Oh my gosh. All right, getting old here. About 148 now. All right, back to the bench. Okay. Just wanted to clean up that groove a little bit. The shaft is no longer cold. Can't last forever, but. So the next step now, we're going to measure the same thing like we did with the bottom with number 4th gear. We're going to measure, put the snap ring in and measure the gap, but let's see what snap ring we have. The choices are 311, 287, and then A and B, 287A, 287B, 1.65 millimeters to 1.75. Just like adjusting valves, in a car, the discs might say, 2.45 millimeters, but you might get one that's 2.42, 2.43, and you get a stack of them, so you can go through them and you can fine tune that valve adjustment to the exact amount, so you can get all the cylinders nice and even. I like to do that. It takes forever, but it's worth it. You get a nice tune when you're done. So same with these snap rings. They're not exactly the number. So if you can get a bunch of the same number, you can go either way of that value just a little bit. So we got 1.6, 1.62, 1.63, 1.62. Okay, so I would guess that that's a 287. That's the smallest snap ring in the range. So let's see if we can get that on there and take a measurement and see how close we are to 0. They want between 0 and 0.4, with the lower value being preferable. If this is tight but not tight enough, I'm not sure we could get the next size in there. But if we got a few more of the same value, we might get one that's a little tighter, if that makes any sense. So let's just get that in there and see what happens. Now that snapped right in. I like to tap these, make sure that they rotate. It tells me that it's not binding and it's seated all the way around. Still pretty tight. I don't know if we're going to get a 0.04 millimeters. I don't even think I have. Oh yeah, there we go. There's a 0.038. 0.038 is a little smaller. And that does go in. And I feel that that is probably more than 0.04. So here's 0.05. And that also goes in. So I know I'm going to need another snap ring for that. That'll also be on my parts list. So let's see, 0.038. The next one I have is 0.076. That also fits. If I was this transmission, I'd be embarrassed. What else we got? I'll keep going until we know, and we'll do some math. Ugh, so bad at math. Well, here's 0.1. This is 1/10. Let's see. 1/10 even fits in there. But it's snug. So I think, well, it's snug over there, not so, a little bit looser here. It's getting hot. So if we have a 1.65 and we have room for another 1/10 of a millimeter, I'd say we go to the B, the 287B, the 1.75. That's as large as we can go. But I can also take one of these snap rings. Oh no, I can't go thicker, can I? I might be able to get one, and hopefully I'll get, like, if I get 2 or 3 of them, I might get one that's a little bit larger, a little bit out of spec on the positive side, and that's the same with the with this one. So I'm going to put that on my list of parts I'm going to need. I'm going to need to tighten up this gear on the shaft there. Okay, well, now we know. All right, let's go on to the next thing. Again, I'd love to be replacing all these parts in hand and just get it done, but we're not able to do that. So hopefully we'll revisit this one. So what's next? We have the sliding sleeve. We already took one of these apart and showed you what's inside and how it all works. This one is now toasty warm. So it's all assembled, ready to go in. This is going to go in this direction. And what do we got to do? Press on sliding sleeve synchronizer, turn synchronizer so that the grooves are aligned with the locked pieces. We did all that. That's all assembled. And look, we have another adjustment to make once this is in place. And we have more snap rings that we can adjust. Again, not much difference. So everything should be close. So let's see if we can get this to fit on there. Oh no, not yet. That's not right. We have to put a gear on first, and that'll be second gear. You believe they didn't tell me to put second gear on? It did not tell me to put second gear on. Good thing I was smart enough to know. That's a joke. Yeah, crazy. They did not tell me to put second gear on. I guess we're just supposed to know. Okay, well, there it is. And when we put this on, we're going to have to align the synchro ring so it drops right into our little teeth there, our little, well, you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, let's see if this will go on. I think that's funny that it wouldn't tell me. But that is really hot. I can tell because it's burning. Where's my... Now I want to see where we are here. We're going to line those up and maybe gently. No, I don't want to hit it too hard. So back to the press, and we'll get the sliding collar and sleeve pressed on properly. So we'll see you back at the press. Okay, we're back at the press again. What I did now, and instead of pushing it the other back down with what gear is that? Second gear here. I was able to drop the synchro into the sliding collar, so all three grooves are lined up. I don't have to worry about moving that while it's in there and burning my hand any more than I already have. So let's just press this down, and this is, as you remember, this is on a bearing, so that can move just fine. The synchro is biting it. You can see there's got some friction there, moving the synchro, but if I lift it up, you know, there's nothing. It's just sitting in the synchro collar. And they're sitting in the three little grooves. So we can just go ahead with this. Okay. That's such a great sound. All right, and back to the bench. Okay, back at the bench. A few burned fingers, minor, not too bad. I'll go to the hospital later. It's okay. Don't worry about me. One more snap ring to measure. We know we need one down here. Let's see what we got here. This 327, 327A, 327B. I don't know if you can see the layout here. You'll see this in your workshop manual. If you don't have a workshop manual and want one, we can probably send the Turbo workshop manual. It's a big PDF file. Yeah, so we might be able to send it to you if you need it. And you'll see, I'm not joking. It does not tell me to put that gear on, but luckily I have the know-how. So yeah, we're at 1.49. Again, the smallest of the snap rings. So let's see how that fits. And just a gentle tap. Wow, that didn't need any extra help. Let's see where we're at. This also, display synchronizing. Okay, same thing, 0 to 0.04. And I think we're going to need a thicker snap ring. That way that went on there. There's 0.038. Yeah, that's loose. 0.05. Yeah, loose. Let's go right up to 1. 0.1, 1/10 of a millimeter. Not quite. It won't go in. It won't go in. So in this case, I would probably get, I would get 3 snap rings. I would get another 1.5, a 1.55, and 1.6. Okay. We got the slider on. We did our measurement. We're going to have to do another measurement after the bearing is put on. I want to explain that. But right now, it doesn't tell us to put first gear on. So it's a good thing I know we have to put first gear on. It just makes sense. All right. We're going to put the Synchronizer. See, this is what I was talking about, the three detents here that lock it into the little segments there. So we'll just drop that in first. Again, I'm not using any gear oil and making it all messy because this will not be put in the car. So just so you know, it saddens me that we can't do that, but that's the way it goes. All right. So here's our first gear. If you look, I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera here. The gear is, this bearing surface is just below the edge here. We're going to measure that. If we have too much clearance here after the bearing is on, we know we're going to be increasing the size of the shim from the bottom up, and that'll bring this whole stack up, and then this will come up that little bit if it's too much. I have not measured this. Now we're going to put the end bearing on the pinion shaft. This has been warmed up nicely. See if I can get a few more burns. If I'm not here next week, I'll be at the burn center getting healed up by some very kind doctors. That's very hot. This hopefully will drop right on. Yeah, sure. It's not straight, so I don't want to force it. That's not really nice. Give it a little center it up. Okay. Probably have to go back to the press. It's going on, but again, I hate to keep hammering things. I do want to show you something here that I did some damage to a shaft one time. This is why I'm so gun shy about hammering anything. It wasn't a transmission. I forget what I was working on. It was something else, but if you want to use a socket, this fits really nice inside. It doesn't touch the rollers. It just contacts the center race. And I was just happily pressing. I got it started just like I did, pressing it on, and it got tight and tight. I just kept pressing and pressing, and it was finally on, and I couldn't get the socket off because where the flats are on the socket, yeah, there's plenty of room, but deeper up inside the socket, there is a smaller section. That smaller section I didn't notice, and it destroyed the teeth on the shaft. I don't remember what I did to fix it, but it was not good, and it was very difficult to get the socket off. So I always look and make sure. I did a test fit on this earlier, make sure I had play all the way up, even though we're only going down a little bit. I just don't want to have any damage. So we're going back to the press to press this down until it stops on the pinion shaft, and there still should be play on this, going up and down. So we'll see you back at the press again. All right, back at the press one more time. I mentioned the interference inside the socket. We have no interference now, which is good. So let's press the bearing down, and I expect we're going to have hopefully a lot of play here. Okay. Oh, the socket's stuck. No, I'm just kidding. It's not stuck because I was careful in the beginning. So what do we got for play? We got play there. So let's go measure that. I believe it's going to be too much because we need to get the stack up a little higher. So back to the bench. Bring your snacks with you this time. So the measurement here between the bearing surface of first gear and the bottom of the race of the pinion bearing. They want 1/10 of a millimeter to 4/10 of a millimeter. So 0.1 to 0.4. I'm going to guess that's 0.55. And you know I'm never wrong. 0.3. Let's start with 0.5. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me get a different feeler gauge that has a bevel that's angled. I'll be able to get in there a little bit better. Be right back. Tool change. All right, 0.6, 0.48. Let's just see. See, I think it's going to be too big, but let's see. I mean, too much play here. Well, today is the day for being wrong. Let's try a smaller one. 0.25. Now, 0.25 fits nice. It's loose, very loose. So we'll just walk it up from there. 0.25. Come on. Can't read that one, but I can measure it. 0.3, 0.3, 0.32. Yeah, that's loose. 0.32. We're getting closer to our limit. Let's see, 0.48. Where was I before? 0.4. This is our limit. Actually, it doesn't go in. Wow. It will not go in. So, I guess we have a good spec here. Problem is, I will be shimming this. Not shimming it, but replacing the snap ring, so it will come up a little bit, but we do have quite a bit of gap there to work with since we're already close to the highest point. We're going to be making that gap smaller, but we have lots of room, so that's good. Yeah. 3.5 won't go in. I already tried that one. 3.3. 3.3 is really tight. Really tight. Okay, give it back. All right, so that's we're actually in spec there with this lateral movement there, or in play, and that's it. That's all we got. Our pinion shaft is done. If you can just imagine that we did make the adjustments, this pinion shaft would be ready to go back in the car. Our bearings look good. We don't have to change any bearings. We won't be, even if when we get all the correct parts for it. The bearings are in great shape. I might change a sleeve because of the points aren't exactly sharp, but we're going to revisit this. But hopefully we learned a little bit about putting it together, taking it apart, or the other way around, taking it apart, putting it back together, doing some measurements. All this stuff is critical for a good running and smooth transmission without noises, rattling, and grinding and blocking. Blocking is when you go to put it in gear and it kind of stops and then goes. That's when the points are too dull and won't allow the sinker, the slider, to slide into the gear easily. So, yeah, there you go. Not real hard to do. Just follow the directions perfectly. Try not to burn your fingers along the way. Things get hot. You should be wearing gloves. I don't, as you probably noticed in other videos. Don't forget to put the gears on that they don't tell you to put on. You should already know how to do that if you're an expert transmission rebuilder like me. Anyways, that's it for today. Thanks again for all your help in the GoFundMe. We got a little bit of money in there, not a whole lot, but it shows that there's some people that really have an interest in this and want to see it get done. So we like to see that. Thanks for watching. Got some great comments. Oh God, I wish I could remember his name. I have a terrible memory. Someone chimed in and told me that I do not have to replace the pairing gears that go with the input shaft. So I can replace just the input shaft as a standalone replacement without replacing the gears that go with it. That's good news. And honestly, the worst case, you get a little whine from the gear, but people say that that's not necessary. You don't have to worry about it. It works great. So we'll probably end up getting an input shaft as part of this repair. Speaking of which, next week we're going to assemble the input shaft and put the differential back together, doing the same type of measurements like we did here with the feeler gauge. And one more thing, look, I still can't afford to buy the other stuff I need to do our measurement, but I did. Look at this. I did just purchase this. That's the pin we're going to need. Got it shipped here. I think it was $52 to get this here. And that little device screws right into the tip of this. And this is what we'll push on the little plate on top of the pinion head. And if you look at the dial indicator, that's what we're going to be reading. We're going to be, the master gauge that goes on here is $600 and whatever dollars plus shipping. I can't do that yet. But that's the gauge that will set the depth here, the spec. So once we get this set, we'll turn the dial indicator to 0. And then when we put this in, if we get 0, then we know that pinion is at the exact depth, the design depth. But it won't be. It's going to be offset just a little bit to make it quiet. So it might be a little bit shallower, or it might be a little bit taller. And that's the spec we're going to read. And that'll be our R deviation factor for the quiet running. This dial indicator is too big. This goes to another set, but it's the same size here. I can get another smaller dial indicator. I have one, but the thing was broken, so I can't use that. So we're getting closer to putting this together so I can show you how to measure pinion depth. If I can't get the master gauge and the disc is $200 just to put on the top, magnetic disc, crazy. So not in the budget today, but maybe in the near future we can get these parts. I can show you how that works. Anyways, I'm babbling on again. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Just subscribe if you can, like. It really helps us a lot. So thank you very much. See you next week.